Welcome to Inspire TV show. I'm your host, Dennis Postema, and today I have a very special guest, best-selling author, a good friend of mine, and what I like to call Supermom, because she's going to give us some insight on how to stay in shape and to do it with being productive. And she just got done with Miami Swim Week. So, Sandi, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Super excited to chat today.
So, you just got done with Miami Swim Week. So, how was the experience for you?
It was amazing. It was my first time walking in swim week. So, very new experience, but very exciting. And yeah, I think it's one of those bucket list items, right? It's like walk in swim week, check. Okay, we got that done. It's super exciting, but what a great experience.
So your bucket list has already been extremely accomplished. Let's talk about you're no stranger to the runway. So let's talk about like your past a little bit and like some of the accolades that have gotten you here.
Yeah, so back in 2022, I was Mrs. Florida International, competed for the first time in a pageant and won the prestigious title of Mrs. International 2022. So I held that title for a year from 2022 to 2023. Then last year in 2024, again for the first time, competed in my first fitness competition and ended up winning two first place trophies and received my pro card.
Amazing. That's amazing. So we're gonna walk everybody through a little bit about what it takes because one thing I love about like getting involved and seeing what all you're doing and your community of friends is I speak very highly of the standards that you set and the people that set it around you. So let's start with what a day looks like to lead up to one of these, what a normal day looks like, and then let's talk about what it takes to lead up to one of these competitions.
Yeah, so there is, I would say, especially when you're in competition, when you're in prep mode, I am already a very structured, regimented person, but it gets even tighter when you're, about to step on stage. So it's funny, I just did an Instagram post on like how I'm prepping for, Miami Swim Week. But a typical day for me is I get up at 5:35, not 5:30, not 5:45, 5:35.
Okay.
My alarm clock goes off. When I'm not in prep, So 5:35 a.m. I have a home gym. So I work out, I wake up, I work out until 7 o'clock. And that's my me time. I mean, I'm a business owner, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. So I've got to fill my cup before I go into everything else. So I get my workout in for the day. I know a lot of people are going to be wondering, like, what kind of workouts do you do? Because that's another question that I get a lot. I love weightlifting. I think it keeps you so strong, it keeps you energized, and it's for longevity. So I do weightlifting. I love lifting weights. I'll tell you about the cardio part of that once we get to the competition, because there's like a strategic way to fit that in.
Yep.
So I work out until 7 o'clock in the morning. Then I'm right into mom mode. So I make breakfast every single morning for my kids, eggs, fruit, yogurt, pancakes. Like they get a smorgasbord of food in the morning because we want to fuel them up and get ready for school or camp. Drop them off at, again, camp or school. Right now it's summer, so they're in camp. And then I do camp or school drop off, get them off, and out the door. I'll say they're out by like 9:30, and then back home by 10 a.m. and right into my workday. So 10 to 3 is a typical workday for me. Client calls, podcasting, sponsors, your typical team work that goes into just the logistics of day-to-day operations. My weeks are pretty structured. I have, certain days that are just one-on-one clients, certain days that are my group coaching days, and then I have other days that are like the builders, the business
Yeah.
builders, working on the business versus in the business. So, once work mode ends, it's back into mom mode and wife mode and home mode and all the, groceries and cooking and homework and mom life,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty full. It's a pretty full schedule. And then, after we get into whether it's homework or dinner, we love spending time together as a family, whether that's like with a movie or a game or something fun. And then usually once a week, my hubby and I will have a date night. So, again, pretty scheduled, pretty regimented, and we don't get out of that schedule like really too often unless there's like a vacation or something like that. And really, I think that's contributes to the success of being able to do all these things because whether it's my diet, my workouts, my routines, my time, my schedule, like everything is extremely consistent.
It's a consistency. Like, I think if as you talk to like the levels of like successful people, the higher and higher achievers, the higher you get up that totem pole of like the extremely successful, for example, your work week is your work day is 5 hours a day, and you have
Yeah.
all these multiple days included. The structure and the consistency, let's touch on that really quick because it's
Yeah.
the little increments of doing that every day that really, to me, is what makes it different.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really, I know I get this question a lot, like, how do you do it all? How do you juggle all these things? And, I run a high performance academy, and in that academy, it's based off of three pillars. And those three pillars are systems, strategy, and support. So the whole, not just the business, but the
Yep.
home, the lifestyle is all built on those three pillars. And I think people don't realize how strategic that is because when you have the right system and you have a strategy behind it and then you're supported whether it's with I don't know, let's just say grocery shopping. Like my mother-in-law calls me the Instacart queen because like I should be sponsored by them. But
Yeah.
I Instacart my groceries because that alone, I mean, I have my different places that I order my groceries and home, cleaning supplies from. But that alone will save someone minimum 2 to 5 hours a week, just the grocery shopping or miscellaneous shopping bucket of what
Yeah.
you're doing. So think about how much time that buys you back for your kids, your spouse, your business, like game changer.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. I tell I tell everybody to utilize that, and also like I want to touch on like your morning time. You're filling your cup because I that resonated with me very, very much. Do you listen to a certain thing, or what goes on when you're doing it?
So I have a trainer
Okay.
and she's my trainer for the competition, but also when I'm not training for the competition, I still follow her programs.
Yeah.
I kind of go back and forth between my trainer's program, like set program for me that she customizes. And also I'm a big Peloton fan. I
Yeah.
love the weighted workouts. We have, the more specifically, like I love the weight training programs in there, but I also do the bike and the tread. Those are, my go-tos. But I don't listen to any like motivational like podcasts or music. As a matter of fact, because again, like I'm working out at home,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as quiet as I can be. Although I'm in my, home garage and the door is shut, I'm like, don't slam a dumbbell. Don't let the machine get too loud because I'm like, I don't want anybody to wake up.
I love it. I love it. So you're actually the second person who has told me, like in the last two like interviews, about how that they take that and it's very quiet for them while they're like
Yes.
focused and they're working out. And that's the opposite of what I do. But I love that because everybody has to have their own thing, right? And
Hmm.
so that's very cool that that's what like your like what you focus on. On how big of a game changer is it having a gym in your home? So
Oh my
talk
gosh.
about this. Yeah.
Literally, I think I mean, if I didn't, let's put it this way, if I didn't have a home gym, I probably wouldn't be as, I wouldn't like, I worked out pretty much like my whole life. I love
Yeah.
the gym. I love working out, but I probably wouldn't go as hard only because and my husband, like, he can't even work out with me because I'm in there. I'm moving things around. I'm going from, the weights over to the machine, over to the bench. Like I'm kind of like, I'm a mover in the
Yeah.
gym. So
Yep.
I feel like I need my space. So I think it would be really hard for me, like the time, like when I was training for my last competition, it was over the course of Thanksgiving. And I
Yeah.
had to like, we were traveling, we were in San Diego, and I had to go to another gym to get the workout in. And just the drive there alone was like 10 minutes. But in my head, I'm like, it's a 10-minute drive there, it's a 10-minute drive back. I gotta go in, I gotta check in, I gotta get moving everything around. Like, I think it would not that it would deter me from going because I'm a very like stubborn person and I always do things that I want to do. But I think that it would just create a roadblock. Like it's another thing to if you had an excuse, it would be another thing that would be like, that's a roadblock that I have to get over, Like they say, like any goal that you want to accomplish, remove any roadblocks that you can, because that will be your quickest path to success. So like get the junk food out of the house if you have, you know, a sweet tooth. You know, put your clothes out and ready. Like try and remove any of the roadblocks or set yourself up for success in all the ways possible. So I think for me, although it wouldn't be like a complete deal breaker, it would still be like, okay, I have to go extra out of my way to make this happen.
This, you know, just so you know, I'm doing is validating all the reasons I've done the same thing because like I'm the same way. So like when I used to drive to the gym, of course I did it and whatever, but I suggest that everybody get a home gym. Like once I started like
Yeah.
from running, like when I got my first treadmill and then I put a TV up so I could watch what I wanted to watch while I was running. And then like
Yep.
now like I have a really extensive home gym. I got the gym from our old school when they got a new one donated. I
Nice.
just got that and built that out. And I would suggest for everybody to get their own space because like me, I'm a mover too. So like even today
Yes.
I was in there and there was somebody else in the weight room at the hotel. I'm like, man, get out of my way. I'm trying to
Yeah, you're like,
do
excuse
this.
me, I
I
need
have
that.
this.
Wait.
This is supposed to be set. I'm supposed to be able to jump from here to here to here and do this whole
Right.
thing.
And you get a circuit and you get a
Yeah.
routine
Yeah.
going. I know, I know. And I'm very efficient when I work out. Like the way that my trainer sets it up for me is mostly like circuit training.
Yeah.
So like I'll set it up where I'm like, okay, let me get through the first one and then I'm like boom, boom, boom. I can hit what I need to and get it done like more efficiently because I know what's coming up next. I know where I need to be. So
Yeah.
I think in the past, like, and even to answer your question, like I think that I probably work out harder because I have the home gym, because I also push myself harder. There's nobody else like looking at you. I go, by the way, I also no hair, no makeup. I'm in like a clip with no makeup. So that saves time there alone. So I think, you know, men, you guys don't have to go through those things. But as women, I know I have like close girlfriends who will put on lashes to go to the gym. Like that's a lot of work to
Yeah.
do to go to the gym. So that saves me a lot of time, just like waking up, having my clothes already laid out and just popping in there ready to go.
I do the same thing. I'm either sleeping in my outfit or I have my clothes right there ready because
Wow, you sleep in
I
yours.
say there's no negotiate. I don't negotiate with terrorists, so I don't allow
Yes,
myself to get in my own head at all. If
that's
I'm gonna,
so
because I'm
good.
an early morning, just like you, I'm an early morning riser, and I know that if you do the thing continues. That like that's all you have
Right.
to do is do the thing and be
Right.
consistent
And
with it.
and and I'll tell you, I have been consistently working out minimum 5 times a week, minimum for at least the past 11 years. Like, and even before that, I was in, you know, times when I was in college or like, I mean, 11 years ago, I'm like, let me think, how old was I? I was 26, 27. Okay, so even longer. So more than so longer than because I remember like back in my even college days, I was like a cardio queen. I didn't even know what to do in the gym.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of time for me to understand the machines and the weights and all the things, but I would still get myself in minimum 5 times a week, or yeah, 5 times a week minimum, just to get myself in there to create that habit.
Yes, I love it. Very awesome. I'm agreeing with everything you say. So I think consistency, and that allows, by the way, I mean, personally, I know that allows for like with that structure. And same thing, by the way, something you mentioned that I think everybody should point out, what you keep in your cabinets, like your cupboards
Yes.
is important. Like again, like if you have all the right things in there, that's you when you go to
Yeah.
grab or snack something, like again, you don't have to negotiate with terrorists. You got
Yep.
it right there. It's this is what I have to eat. And so
And
that
that's a great parenting tip too, by the way, because like even for my kids, like the things that are at their eye level that they can reach are the apples, the little cutie tangerines, cheese sticks, like peppers, little peppers that they can snack on, you know? So it's like it's a hack for us, but it's also like a parenting hack for our kids as well.
that's actually the first time I noticed it is when my nephews used to watch our dogs when we go on vacation or go away for work. And this was years ago, probably 10 years
Mhm.
ago. And the one time we didn't have time to go buy them a bunch of stuff before we went. So they had protein bars, they had all of the healthy stuff that's in there. It was still completely all ate and all gone by the time we got back. So they had ate healthy the entire time because
Yeah.
that was all that was left, you know. So
Right.
And so
Right.
that's when I was like, oh, maybe I should just always keep that for everybody. And
Yep.
that's the rule of thumb. So yeah, it's funny how
Exactly. So
that
good.
parenting tip in there as well. So
Yes.
let's talk about the difference between regular days, okay,
Hmm.
versus like leading up to a competition and what gets harder and what are the things you got to consider.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So going through this, so I competed, like I mentioned, last December. So the closer you get to that on stage date, the more you're like, oh my gosh, it's getting real. It's here. And like I can't mess around, like down to the macro, like not like macros, like macro, like singular, right? You're like one macro off. You're like, at least because I'm also a very particular person, like I remember getting down to the point where it was like egg whites in the morning. Even today, it was funny. I mean, I'm competing in again in like 8 weeks, but like my lunch right before this call was like a rice cake with some tuna, everything but the bagel seasoning, and I got a little crazy and I put some cheese on top.
I love
But to answer your question, like you are so exact to the macro, counting everything. So every bite that you eat. And I think that you also get really good at eating in volume, like the good stuff. So for example, as you know, you could have a burger with like all the sauces and toppings and things on it. Or you could have like a burger patty with like some mustard and some lettuce, and you're going to get way more protein out of that than you would something that's like stacked with bun and sauces, and because that's another thing that you learn too is like your nutrition alone. That was a game changer because you realize, well, this like is going to cost me hundreds of calories more over something so insignificant like a sauce
yeah.
versus finding really creative ways to eat in volume and still feel full and be satiated than like all the crap that you were probably eating before you were aware of it. So that's a big difference. So the knowledge that comes along with the prep was like that really did blow my mind. So when I'm in prep, instead of 5:35 waking up, I get up at 5. I get up at 5 a.m. And that I would say is more like 6 weeks out. I think that's when I really, really was like, now I have to
Wow,
switch, which I'm almost there. I'm almost there. So like in a week or two, I'll be there, from the 5:30 to, because then the workouts get longer. So now my workout in the gym, let's say instead of an hour in the morning, is like an hour and a half in the morning. And then at night, I'm doing weighted cardio. So now you're adding cardio onto your weight training. So now you're, in my case, doing your weights. So you're building your muscle, you're tracking every single macro that's going into your body, and very, very tight on like, where is my protein goal? Like, where am I at? Where are my carbs? Where are my fats? Like you're just fanatical about it. And then on top of it, for me it got a little crazy because I felt like, again, as a parent and as a working mom, I was like, man, this is so intense. Like the intensity of how much you have to work out and be in the gym, where my mindset was, and again, this is probably like as a high performer mindset, I'm like, but I'm not here forever. Like this is just right now. Like I know I'm in like a 6 or an 8 week window where I'm really hyper focused on hitting this goal. But like after that, I know I don't need to do this again and miss like, you know, snacks at night with my kids or something like that. So I think that you get, at least for me, get hyper focused on what the goal is, and then you make those accommodations, as needed. But I would say the three big things that change are the time, because you're spending more time, waking up earlier, working out longer, working out cardio and weight training. The second thing is your nutrition, super, super dialed in. Everything's like, I would travel with a scale. I would travel with a food scale when I was
love
traveling
it.
and when I was competing before, it was over Thanksgiving. So I literally, my plate was like turkey, um, maybe some like green beans and like maybe a little bit of mashed potato, like the sweet potato.
Yeah.
Like that was my Thanksgiving plate. And no desserts, no pies, none of that. Um, So you're just hyper aware again of nutrition. And then the final piece is like you're just your mentality. Like the mentality, which is probably the biggest piece of it all, which is like I have this goal. And the main reason actually why I wanted to compete in the first place is because I wanted to see really how disciplined I was. Like I knew I was disciplined, but this took it to a whole other level.
And I love what you said because like mentioning, oh, and then after this is just for this amount of time, and then
Hmm.
I can because but the person you become
Right.
in those moments when you achieve that goal,
Yeah.
it's gonna feather out into the kids' snack time, the all the
Right.
other things, and you're gonna be that much greater of a person in the other areas, even though
Yep.
at the in the moment and it took away from
Yeah.
that time, but now the next time it's gonna be so I love that.
And you know what? It actually got easier. Like I remember we went, like the whole family went out to a winery. And I don't drink to begin with. Like if my husband and I go out, I'll have like a glass of champagne like every once in a blue moon. But I'm not, so for me, alcohol was never like, oh my gosh, I have to cut it out. But everybody went out to a winery and there was like pizza and pasta. And I'm like, what am I gonna eat? Like this is like it was like a pizza, wine, like you know what I mean? They had wine and pizza, and like that's what was there. So I ended up ordering salmon and like a side salad was what I ate. And I could smell like the sauce of like the marinara sauce and the pizza. And I'm like, and then like after I got over the initial, like I really want a bite of that, I was like, it felt so good knowing what my willpower was. Like the fact that I in that moment and then after was like I saw myself be so powerfully in control of that willpower, like that was a game changer.
I love that. And I think two things that I don't want to forget about the weighted cardio because I love working out with a weight vest as well. Like
Yes.
I'm on the treadmill if I'm doing a jog or running. So that's something that like I think we don't want to skip over because the amount of calories that you burn is astronomical in comparison to like a non
Yeah.
workout. So they, you use a weight vest, right?
Yep.
Correct. Okay.
Yep. I use a weighted vest. I actually, so when I was training, I had one. So this is what I'll say about the weighted vest. I had one that probably was a little too heavy for me because I don't know if this ever happened to you, I would get neck pain.
Yeah.
And I literally would get these boulders in my neck because I was wearing it for an hour. Like, oh, and this is the other thing. Like my trainer would increasingly add, like I'd go 30 minutes, 40, 45, 50 an hour. So by the time you're like about to step on stage, now you're an hour and a half with weight training and an hour with the weighted vest cardio. And it was killing my shoulders. I found this amazing weighted vest that I don't know what the technology is, but it causes your body, because this didn't happen with the heavier one. I think it has like an internal, there's something in the fabric or the way that it's built, it causes you to sweat more. It's called an Aon. I think that's how you pronounce it. Aon, AION vest. And that alone, just switching the vest was like a big game changer because the quality of the vest was better.
Yeah, I ran through the similar thing. I thought, okay, I'm a tough guy, da da da.
Yeah.
I got this 75-pound weight vest, right?
Oh
And I was
my
like, oh, here we go. And the first time, this
gosh.
was years ago, I put this on and I'm like, oh my God. And I started working out in that. And then I broke the
Yeah.
treadmill because but then I got an updated weight vest.
Yeah.
So I want to throw out that make sure you try out like what weight is relevant.
Right.
Like,
I was wearing, just to give you perspective, I was wearing the same weight vest that my husband now wears.
yeah,
Like, I was not, I mean, I was burning a lot of calories, but it was not the appropriate thing for my body.
yeah. No, yeah, I learned that the hard way as well. So
Yeah.
I think anybody's trying it, just a little advice when you're going to buy your weight vest.
Yes.
The other part I want to throw out that you mentioned that I love myself is because I've been big on keto for a long time. I wrote a book on keto,
Hmm.
and the volume of food that you can have if it's the right food. Like I get
Right.
super excited when I look at like, and I go back to like old school stuff, like the tuna. You mentioned tuna. Like,
Right.
do you realize how much you can consume
Hmm.
of like the proper food? Like
Right.
if you figure out your calories and divide out how much you can eat, it
Yes.
is insane. You do not
Right.
have to go hungry to have
Yes.
those
That's what blew
calories.
my mind. Like I remember, and even now because I'm getting back into it. So like even a small tweak of like a ground turkey versus a ground beef,
Yeah.
major difference,
Yeah.
major difference. And you're like, okay, okay, leaner, like turkey's leaner and then ground beef, but like hundreds of calories. Not like 5, 10, like
Yeah,
hundreds of calories of it, which I have a sweet tooth. So I would always like factor in like a little piece of dark chocolate for myself because I needed that little
yeah.
sweet treat. And I was like, the fact that I could pile in zucchini and peppers and onions and like have a bulk, a volume that I could eat of the right foods allowed me to still have my little sweet treat that I needed and like feel satiated and feel full and like all the things, which is again, you're learning proper nutrition.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned too the sauces because
Yes,
nowadays with sauces and different like what am I trying to say like
like condiments.
yeah, condiments that you can put on there that are very low, if not no calorie, that they didn't have. Like, guys, like the changes from like when I was like 18, 20, like the Metric
Yes.
bars that were like
And
cardboard.
filled with sugar, like
Yeah, and like
all, and
yeah,
yes,
and took 4 days to eat. Like what we have now and the availability now is
right.
insane if you do your research.
And it's so funny because like you learn all the free foods, like I like mustard, cinnamon, um, another hack, I'm sure you know this, but it's like taking pickle juice because pickle, no calories.
Yeah.
So you can like season with the pickle juice in the tuna or like in certain things. So you find these little tweaks and it sounds crazy, but when you're so strict, you're like, I'll take whatever I can get.
100%, yes, and I love it. I love the, now you bring up pickles, now that you can get the spicy pickles right at a gas station. I mean,
Yeah.
things, that are crazy, like the chunk,
Yeah.
like, there's crazy things that happen, like, they have, like, 10 calories. That
Yes. And
that
you learn it. You learn it fast because you're like, if I don't, I'm literally eating such small volume, not feeling full, and then you just set yourself up for failure.
absolutely. So, what else do we have to share on the journey?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the biggest thing for me was like the mindset. That's why I wanted to do it. I think the biggest thing, after I did the competition, I did a show, I did a YouTube episode on like what were my big takeaways and like why I wanted to do this. And I think that like anyone doing a competition or going after a big goal, doesn't matter what that goal is, you have to figure out your why first because there's going to be so many times when you want to give up, when you want to say screw it, I'm going to sleep in, when it's more convenient to hit the snooze button than it is to wake up, or when people around you are eating, drinking, doing all these things that it's so easy to give in and you have to know why you're doing it. And I think I have a little screw loose sometimes because I like a good challenge. Like
Yeah,
when people are around me that are like, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. If they're eating however they want to eat, or I have something in me that is like, push yourself to the next level.
yep,
And I think all high performers, we have this. We have this, little extra whatever in our brains or in our DNA that tells us like we can do it. And if we can do it, we should do it and we should go after it. So I think that figuring out what that why is, like you have to dig deep and go for that. And also as a parent, like I remember my kids, I have two boys asking me like mom, like why are you doing this, or why are you getting up early to work out, or why are you counting your macros? And it's such a great example to show them like if you have a goal, you don't give up on your goals. This is how you set targets for yourself and go after them. And like anything you want, you can achieve, but you've got to figure out like what's the roadmap, what's the plan. So I think it's also such a great learning opportunity, not just for yourself, but those around you to inspire people around you. Because the other really cool thing, whether it was the pageant or this fitness competition, I have women in my community that are now competing, multiple women in the Mrs. International pageant, as well as the fitness competition in July and August. So it's amazing. Like when you go do something, the motivation, the mindset that you can bring to others that maybe thought they could never do it, but they saw you do it and now they want to go after it.
yeah, the support of the community that just expands like crazy is amazing to see. And I wanna touch on too, like the health factor, like as entrepreneurs, like that's the entire reason I started not only any of my nutrition side of what I do, is because as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, it's really easy to forget about your health. And like,
Yeah.
I think that that's important to like, yes, the mindset works perfect, but also it makes you, reminds you, and it teaches, like you said, your kids that
Right.
it's important. I
Yeah.
remember Dave Meltzer saying that if you don't have your health, when you wish to a genie, you only have one wish. If you have your
Right.
health, you have unlimited wishes. And
Yep.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's so, that's amazing.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. And I tell my babies all the time, I'm like, I want to be able to carry you, both of them, both my boys, on my back till I'm like 100. Like
yeah,
I'm gonna be like the super grandma nanny or nana, like running around, with my kids. But I want to be able, I mean, I joke about that, but I want to be able to keep up with my kids someday, if they have kids, being an active,
yeah.
active like woman at every stage of my life. I don't think because, as we get older, I think that there is this like, I don't know if it's like taboo or if it's just like this misconception. It's like we can age in a way that's powerful and we're in control of that. I think it's when you say, "Up, it's out of my control," like our kids don't eat dye. We keep sugar to a minimum. We go out to eat, they eat fish, they eat steak, they eat, you know, they're aware of their choices.
Yeah.
And I think that if we all could be more cognizant of that, like how the choices that we make have such a massive effect in everything that we do. Energy, libido, how we feel, like how we operate. Like I don't think I would be able to get up and operate in the way that I do if I had a horrible diet, didn't work out. Like it would be a totally different lifestyle.
I I agree 100%. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about, so we know we got a ton of extra stuff coming up. That anything you want to share with the community that you've got coming up that you want everybody to know about?
Yeah, so I'm super excited about I will be returning as Mrs. International for the international pageant in Kingsport, Tennessee in July. So if you're interested in that, you can stream it live. You can go on mrsinternational.com to check that out. And the first week in August, I'll be competing at the WBFF, going back to get the crown as my holding my pro card, competing on stage in just about 6 weeks now. So very excited for all those things coming up.
Very amazing. And how do they get a hold of you to work with you, Sandy?
Yes. So at Sandi Glandt on all the platforms. You can email me, Sandra@sandraglandt.com. I'll share that information with you, so they can reach out. Come join us in the High Performance Accelerator Academy. Come join us on the podcast, on Instagram, on the social media channels. Not only will you be inspired, but your life will start changing when you start surrounding yourself with other people who have big goals, big dreams, and have the system, strategy, and support on how to get there.
And I have to like give you a bunch of kudos because your High Performance Academy, seeing like what they're doing and how like being a guest on there the one day and just seeing the amount of like that these people are just crushing it is just amazing to see. And she's right, guys. It's the real deal. Like this entire community is just like on point. So check out her Slay Your Day television show on Motivation Success TV. We've got tons of things going on. Thank you so much, Sandy, for being a good friend and being a part of our network. And we appreciate you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. All right. Bye.